Hey guys, Curtis Alexander. I'm a pharmacist. One of the questions that's been posed to me a lot over the years is, would I become a pharmacist again? If I was graduating from high school and younger, would I do it? The short answer is no. But I want to provide some context in this video, give you my thought process. And if you're watching this thinking about becoming a pharmacist, keep in mind this is just my take on it. I think you'll find some commonalities if you talk to other pharmacists, but always get a broad, brushstroke of folks that you're talking to. But this is just my take. So, as far as how I got into pharmacy, when I graduated from high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. It was a different time then. We didn't have the internet like we do now. And so I knew I wanted to do something science based. That's what I enjoyed. So, studied hard, got good grades, eventually got into pharmacy school and graduated technically in December 1999. And I've been a pharmacist ever since. Well, not technically now, but up until roughly 3, 4 months ago, I was out being a pharmacist every day. And during that time, I will say when I got into pharmacy at around 2000, I was licensed a few months later. It was a great time to be a pharmacist. Salaries were high and they were growing. There was a very low supply of pharmacists, so I was sitting in a great position. I was just starting a family, so it was great for my wife. She was able to stay at home with my sons. So there was a lot of good things about it. However, over time, we've seen a slow decline in the field. And again, I don't think this is just my opinion. I think the more pharmacists you talk to, you're going to kind of see these trends. But we've seen salaries go down in relation to basically inflation and your ability to buy things. And a big thing is, and this is particularly true for people, if you're a pharmacist working at some of the big chains in these retail pharmacies, they are point blank miserable places to work. I mean, their workload's super high, their stress is super high, so they're terrible places to work. The other thing we've seen is that probably, from like 2008 to 2012, because there were so few pharmacists, the pharmacy schools went out and said, we're going to build more pharmacy schools. We're going to get more pharmacists out into the workforce. And that's what they did. When I applied to pharmacy school, there was roughly 4 applicants for every 1 seat that a pharmacy school had. So it was pretty competitive. Nowadays, I've talked to pharmacists who are telling me that, listen, you can go to these new pharmacy schools and they can't fill 50% of the seats. I'm not saying it's that way across the board, but they're simply not able to get enough butts in the seats. So we have a glut of pharmacists in the market right now. So um, it allows corporations, particularly, to treat pharmacists like crap, and just giving more and more work. It's a common trend. Again, go talk to other pharmacists about that. But because we have just kind of this glut of pharmacists in the field, it's not a good thing. The other thing is the technological advancements. Technology is being able to replace pharmacists and pharmacy technicians. And I think that trend's only going to accelerate. I know of a pharmacist who came in to work one day and was just told, listen, we're replacing X amount of pharmacists. He was one of them. And this was a few years ago. This was not real recently. It's only advanced since then. And I expect that trend to continue. So that is not on pharmacist side. Um, the other knock against it, part of the reason I started doing these videos is because I got questions from people. It allowed me to kind of dig in to the science part of things and explain it to people, which is what I enjoyed early on. That I really did enjoy pharmacy school. A lot of people didn't because it's a grind. I enjoyed it because I'm a nerd. I mean, it's kind of what I'm into. So this was an outlet for me early on, and I've always enjoyed it. But most of your day as a pharmacist has nothing to do with really remembering a lot of that stuff from pharmacy school. It's dealing with, hey, did which insurance is not paying today. It's all about insurance. It's all about, what's my copay going to be. It's very little about the actual science, kind of the clinical stuff of what you were trained to deal with in pharmacy school. That's not what most pharmacists deal with on a day-to-day basis. One of the last cons I would say is satisfaction of most pharmacists is extremely low. Most pharmacists, if we're being honest with you, hate their jobs. Most of them are miserable. That's just the reality. Now, if you talk to pharmacists who are in more clinical positions, for example, the last position I had was a great position. I enjoyed that position. I didn't leave because I was unhappy. I left because of opportunities that had arisen in my life. But as far as the job, it was a good job. Most pharmacists, however, are not in those positions. Those positions are very rare. And so the satisfaction because of that is extremely low. Now, one good thing that came out of it, and I call this name dropping, is as soon as I tell people I'm a pharmacist, if I'm talking about anything health related, I'm taken more seriously, because people trust when you say you're a pharmacist, they trust what you're saying. So that's been a huge plus. That would be a tough thing to walk away from. However, considering, in my particular opinion, considering all the negatives with the field, I still would not do it again. If you're thinking about going into pharmacy, this is just one person's story. Make sure you talk to a bunch of other people, because you're making a decision that you're going to be paying most likely more than six figures for, and spend 6 years of your life, maybe more, finishing up this degree and making a lot of sacrifices. So only you can decide if it's right for you. But when people hear, oh, I can become a pharmacist and I can get out and I can make anywhere from 125 up to 160,000. Um, and again, those ranges depend a lot on where you work. Their eyes, light up. But a lot of those people are young and don't realize there's ways you can make more money doing different things. I know guys, um, that are miners that make more money than pharmacists. I know guys that have blue collar jobs and they're making way more money. They own their own businesses. So if it's just money, man, open your mind. There's tons of ways to make money in this world, rather than getting locked into working for some of these corporations that are going to grind you down to dust. So again, just my take. I know this is a little different video for me to do, but I get asked this a lot, so I want to answer it. So hope it was helpful. See you in the next one. Thank you.